welcome back to the Very Factual podcast. I'm your host, Izabella. Kayla is still on vacation, but we had some midweek football this week. We saw the other half of teams play each other in the Champions League round of 16 on Tuesday and Wednesday, and Inter Milan ended up beating Atletico Madrid 1-0 at the San Siro. Arnautovic would get the only goal of the game, giving Milan the lead into the second leg, and I haven't watched these teams a lot this season. I haven't really put my full focus on them, but from what I saw in this game, I thought Inter were very good. It could have been a bigger scoreline. The scoreline, it doesn't say it all, and I think Atletico Madrid after the game, they're taking a sigh of relief. It could have been way worse for them, 3-0, 4-0, something like that. And something I was kind of shocked about is that Atletico, they have been more attacking this season, and they have been very good at that. Griezmann and Morata have been, I would say, some of the best players in Europe. They did not have anything on target in this game, which is quite shocking. Their defending wasn't the best, even though parking the bus is their strong suit. Under Diego Simeone, they defend, and they've been really called out for that, but now they kind of changed their style of play, and they did not do well defending in this game. They left a lot of space. They let Inter have a lot of chances, but a positive that you could look at is that it is only 1-0, and they play at home the next game, so they do have an advantage. And they've been very good at home. They only lost one game at home this whole season. So maybe they can deal with this loss and then kind of shock Milan. I wasn't surprised with how good Inter were. They've been incredible this season. They're top of Serie A. They're probably going to win it. But the thing is, I don't know if they can produce this performance in Madrid. Yes, they had so many chances, but I think it's just the atmosphere of the Wanda Metropolitano that is going to kind of get to Milan, because it is only 1-0 and Madrid can get back into it so easily. And something that I noticed about Madrid, just by watching this game, is that they have to be fully committed to something to perform. Example, it's if they want to defend, the attacking goes out the door. And if they want to attack, the defending goes out the door. They always focus on one specific aspect of the game. That's probably why their defending wasn't good, because they were just kind of focusing on their attack, but they didn't get anything out of it. I think Inter, they are favorites in this tie, but I don't write off Madrid to turn it around. They could easily tie up the aggregate score and then get another goal and just win that next game 2-0, and they'll be on to the next round. And I'm just very excited to see. This is probably one of the more exciting ties of the round of 16, and I'm just very excited to see what comes from it. On Tuesday, PSV Eindhoven would host Borussia Dortmund, and it would end in a 1-1 draw. Daniel Malen scored in the 24th minute, giving Dortmund the lead into the second half. Luke de Jong would then convert a controversial penalty after Mats Hummels fouled Tillman, and PSV would hold on to the draw, making it a crucial second leg. I don't think, first, I just want to get the whole penalty thing out of the way. I don't think the penalty should have been given. I think you look at the replay, you could see it clearly. Mats Hummels made contact with the ball first. And I feel these referees do not know what they are doing. They're unsure. The on-field referee is waiting for the VAR to check, but then the VAR people are saying, oh no, penalty. They all have different opinions. And that's the problem. This was a defender has to tackle inside the box, because how else are they going to get the ball? Mats Hummels ended up playing the ball cleanly. He made contact with the ball, and then Tillman just followed after it. And it's kind of what are defenders supposed to do now? How are they supposed to get the ball back? How are they supposed to stop a shot on net? But the score, it sets it up nicely. I think we get to see a really good game. PSV go to Borussia Dortmund, and the Signal Iduna Park is probably one of the best atmospheres in Europe and that I have ever seen. I think the yellow wall is just amazing. And PSV, they were the underdogs in this game, but they they look like favorites. They're so confident. They always show up. They don't care about big teams. They don't care who they're playing. They just show up and play. It doesn't matter about the names on the back of their shirts. It doesn't matter if they're playing against an Mbappe, Haaland, Lewandowski, whatever. It's just, they just play. And that's something I really like about this, and I'm kind of rooting for them. I really hope they can be kind of like the dark horses in this game. And yes, it has to be Dortmund. Like, literally, if you look at the two sides, Dortmund are the better team. But we've seen Dortmund fold before when they have had pressure on them. Like we've seen last year in the Bundesliga, Dortmund were so close to winning it, but they folded last minute. And everyone is expecting Dortmund to win. And yes, they should. I'm looking at this game, and I literally think Dortmund should win, but I will not be surprised if they let PSG get the win, because, that's very Dortmund. Like, if they do not have pressure on them, they will fly, they will just be such a good side and get all the results that they need. But the second that someone puts pressure on them and that they are competing for something, they fold. And I think, like I said for the Inter Atletico Madrid one, this is going to be a very exciting tie. Barcelona would manage to walk away with a 1-1 draw against Napoli on Wednesday. It would take until the second half for the goals to come, with Lewandowski putting Barca ahead in the 60th minute, but it wouldn't last long as Victor Osimhen scored in the 75th minute, making sure to level the game for his team. I thought this game was going to be very exciting because Napoli, they like to attack. Barcelona's defense is very weak, especially this season, but the result was very disappointing. It was not what I wanted it to be. I thought this was going to be probably the most entertaining game out of the round of 16, but something I was shocked about is that Barca controlled the whole game. Barca had 12 shots, Napoli had 6, Barca had 6 shots on target, Napoli had 1. Possession, it was kind of 50-50, 51 to Barca, 49 to Napoli, but I was just kind of shocked because Barcelona have been bad this season. It was a poor game, but both sides, if this game would have took place last season, I think we would have saw a way better scoreline. Like, they were some of the best in Europe last season, Barcelona won La Liga, Napoli, they were probably one of my favorite sides to watch last season. They were so direct, they were so clinical, and they literally came out and won Serie A out of nowhere. But in this game, they had no shots in the first half, and that made Barca's defense look good, because I've been saying that Barca's defense has not been the same since they won La Liga this season. The reason they won La Liga was probably because of their defense. But the game was just so slow, and there was really no action. It was quite boring. Barca, they played better than they have played in La Liga this season, which I was happy to see. I was just really happy to see them get something out of it. They controlled the game. They kept it tight. They should be happy with the draw. I feel like, especially with the results they've been having recently, like they lost 5-something goals to Villarreal, and now after this, the next tie, Barca get to play at home, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who can win this one. I see it very 50-50 because Napoli, they have nothing, they have no shots, they really created nothing. Hopefully Napoli aren't as bad, and if they score first, I can see Barcelona crumbling, because they've been very prone to that this season, because they haven't been any better at home than they have been away. I think if I had to choose, I think Barcelona might edge it out, but if Napoli get a first goal in the second tie, I think Napoli will take the win. Porto would stun Arsenal with a stoppage time goal by Galeno, making it 1-0 into the second tie. Arsenal were horrible in this game, and that's not something I thought I would say. Arsenal had no shots on target. They only had 7 shots overall, and Porto made it so hard. I thought Arsenal would literally run them over. I thought this was an easy win, maybe like a 3-0, 4-0 win for Arsenal, because Porto are struggling in Portugal. I've heard that there's some problems in the squad, but Porto shocked me. Like, they controlled Arsenal. Arsenal caved and they played Porto's game. They didn't do their own thing. They kind of caved into the other team. Porto only had the ball in play on the field for 50 minutes out of 90. It was insane. Like, Arsenal didn't have a tempo to play on, and they couldn't cope because they didn't know what to do. And I'm surprised Arteta played a changed side. This is the kind of side they play against more secondary teams in the Premier League. Like, they play Havertz through the middle. And Porto are an experienced side. Yeah, they might not be the best, but in Europe, they're experienced. They've played against big teams in the Champions League, and Porto just read Arsenal because they aren't like Burnley in the Premier League. And I think that's what Arsenal expected. Arsenal just really overcomplicated things, and they literally could have went away from this game and be happy with the 0-0 draw, but they just overcomplicated it. Like, what led up to the goal, Odegaard just overcomplicated a pass. He played it forward. Gaiano ran onto it, and then Arsenal did not prepare properly for this game. I think they got a little too cocky. They probably thought they had it in the bag, and they had a surprise. And there's obviously a good chance Arsenal will turn it around. They get to play at the Emirates in the next game, and I think a positive that you have to look at is that Arsenal will know what to expect now. They know how Porto plays. They got a taste of it, and they could probably prepare better. Like, Arteta will probably definitely take more time into this game because they are 1-0 down in the aggregate. So at home at the Emirates, they need to get at least 2 goals. And because if Arsenal don't, Arsenal are probably one of top 5 favorites to win the Champions League, and it's just going to be embarrassing for them, like a real title challenging team, to lose to Porto. So I think this game is even more crucial than we thought in the beginning. We also had some midweek Premier League action this week. Manchester City would gain 3 important title points by beating Brentford 1-0. Both teams, they would have opportunities to take the lead, but in the end, it would all come down to an Erling Haaland breakaway in the 70th minute. Okay, so even though Manchester City's results have been very lackluster, especially recently, and they probably didn't scare Liverpool and Arsenal, especially with this result, but at least the positive that you have to take from this is at least they have chances. At least they take shots. There's lots of them. Like, they had 25 shots against Brentford. Brentford only had 6. And shots on target, they had 11, and Brentford only had 2. And we're not saying that Manchester City can't take a shot on target, because they obviously can. They have probably one of the best forward lines ever. Like, they can interchange Haaland and Alvarez. Like, it's nothing. It's just the finishing that's off. And Manchester City, they're obviously not at their best yet. This is not the best of Manchester City. They still have so much more to give. I can't wait to see the results that were coming at the beginning of the season, and it's got to come at some point. And Liverpool and Arsenal can't get too comfortable either, because now Manchester City, if you look at the title, they are in second place after this midweek game. Arsenal are in third with 55 points, Manchester City a point ahead with 56, and now Manchester City are 4 points behind Liverpool, who are at the top with 60, who also won on Thursday. And the first thing that City has to do if they want to reach that top spot and go really far ahead is that they have to sort out their defense. That has been their weakest point all season, I think. You look at their defense from last season, which was probably one of the most important and key pieces of Manchester City. They probably had the best defense in the whole world. And the thing is, their defense this season, they've been really prone to turning the ball over way more and more. They've been giving teams way more space to create so many more opportunities. And I think if they fix that, they'll end up putting more pressure on the top two teams because their forward line, they can score. Foden was on a run a couple games ago. There was a point where Alvarez was on a run. They can get goals. And Rodri will also get a goal when you need him. And if they shape up that defense, they really start working together, play really compact, I really think that they'll really push and start putting a lot of pressure on Arsenal and Liverpool, because we don't know if Arsenal and Liverpool can hold their form. I don't know if they're probably not going to win every single game here on out, 5-0, 6-0, 4-0. That's just, it's not attainable. And if those two teams start slacking, I think we are going to, see City keep edging to finish first and keep pushing and pushing at the top, because that is what, they do every single season. They know that winning the title is where they're supposed to be. And I'm really excited to see, City at their best, becoming, I said this last episode, becoming invincible. And I just can't wait to see them steamroll every single team they play. Liverpool would have to come back against Luton Town on Wednesday to protect their top spot, beating them 4-1. Ogbene would shockingly put Luton in front by an 11th minute header, giving Luton the lead into half-time. But Liverpool recouped and came out strong in the second half, with the likes of Virgil van Dijk, Cody Gakpo, Luis Diaz, and Harvey Elliott all scoring to restore their 4-point advantage at the top of the table. Something I really love about Liverpool is that they knew that they couldn't slip up, especially at this stage, especially where they are in the table, because it is, a 3-team title race now. Because if they would have slipped up and drew to Luton, or maybe even lost to Luton, it could have had major implications. It would have caused City to get closer, Arsenal to get closer, and I think it's just Liverpool, they knew. They're like these mentality monsters. They never back down. And Liverpool actually play Chelsea next on Sunday in the Carabao Cup final. I'm so excited about that. But Liverpool are depleted with injuries. They have, I'm pretty sure, 9 players injured. I know Salah and Darwin Nunez, they both have knocks, so they didn't play this game. They weren't even involved. Jota's out for a couple months. You have no Trent Alexander-Arnold, no Dominic Szoboszlai, no Curtis Jones, and I feel like those are all starting players, especially Szoboszlai. Trent Alexander-Arnold for sure. Curtis Jones has really established himself into the side, and it does give Chelsea a bigger chance. I'm not just saying that because I am a Chelsea fan. I just think since Liverpool don't have, their first team squad fully stacked, I think, and especially Chelsea's results recently, I think Chelsea might have a better chance. But I think this result will give Liverpool confidence. I said they never backed down. They just fought back. They pretended like Luton weren't even ahead. They just played like it was 0-0. And Luton, they actually have been a good surprise this season. We saw them disappoint a couple teams this season. They have been getting better. They really shocked me because I thought they were going to be the team in 20th place with no points. But, like I said, this was a game Liverpool had to win. It took a bit of time. It took around 45 minutes, 50 minutes, but everything clicked. They got the goals, and they got the important points. Now, it's putting them even farther up in the table. They're 4 points ahead of City, and now they can potentially win their first trophy on Sunday, and I'm very excited to see that game. Okay, everyone, that is all that I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Very Factual Podcast.